Thank you. Can you hear me okay, I assume?
Yes, we can hear you great.
Okay, all right, great. All right. Okay, my name is Nathan Weichert. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions. Here's a QR code to join our mailing list, and I'm going to show this at the end as well. So if you're interested in Art Center at all, I would make sure to do this. In addition to getting invitations to a lot of events, you can also request a view book. And so I have a version right here. Can't hand it to you, but you can request a free one by joining the mailing list. And I'll show that QR code at the end, like I mentioned. So there's my contact information. I will also share my email address in the chat just so you can have that in case you want to connect with me later. I'm going to talk about our 11 undergrad programs. We really try to talk about them in terms of creative careers. The professional focus is really important to Art Center, so I'm going to really emphasize that. Art Center is a 4-year art college in Pasadena. We're in Los Angeles County. We do things similar to other art colleges, but there's a couple kind of unique things that we really focus on, so I'll talk about that. Everything I show you is student work, super polished professional, but it's all student work. And then at the end, I'll go through the application process. So at the beginning here, just to show images of various students working in different types of studios, different programs. We always like to start off with a pretty comprehensive list of creative careers. So these are professional outcomes that our students have gone into when they left Art Center. Really hard to read all of them now, but you can see that it's pretty comprehensive in terms of the different types of careers that you could have after Art Center. So the first thing to really stress is our professional focus. So we were founded in 1930 by Tink Adams. Our first location was in downtown Los Angeles, and he was an advertising professional that really wanted to create a professional oriented school. So really to connect students with the creative industry. So we started as an advertising school. We've expanded to 11 programs, but that's still our philosophy. So one of the major ways that we do that is through our faculty of professionals. About 500 faculty members are still active artists, designers, filmmakers, animators. They're still working in the creative industry, so it makes your education really connected to what's happening now. And like I mentioned, we are in Pasadena. So we're just outside of the city of Los Angeles. So we're really connected with the creative industry of LA. Of course, everyone knows about Hollywood, but the animation industry, we have a thriving fine art community, billions of dollars of creative industry. So lots of creative companies, and we are really connected to them. Our actual campus is in Pasadena. We have 2 campuses, the Hillside and the South Campus. So typically, depending on your major, you'll be at one location or the other. Our school is pretty small. We have about 2,000 undergrad students, and the average class size is 12. So it's a pretty intimate learning environment. We do have opportunities beyond the classroom, and one is sponsored projects. And this is where a company, a creative company, will come into our school. We've had, hundreds and hundreds of companies like Google, Android, several car companies, a huge list of companies that come in. They present design challenges to our students, and then our students are able to work them with them for an entire semester. So it's a way that companies can start recruiting students and get fresh ideas from young designers. It's a way our students can get professional experience. Design Storm is very similar. It's just condensed to a 3 or 4 day period. And Design Matters. So this is the one minor that we have connected with the studio majors. And in this program, it's for students that want to use art and design for social impact and social change. So it's listed in the expanded classroom section because a lot of the projects, our students will do field research. Sometimes it's in a different state or city. Sometimes it's in a different country. They do research, learn about the design problem of the people in the local area. They come back to Art Center and they solve the problem. In terms of career and professional development, we have several things that we do. A career chat is where a professional comes and talks about a topic related to career in art or design. We have internship opportunities. So about 140 Art Center sponsored internships happen each year. And an Art Center sponsored internship means that you're paid. In addition to that, it's meaningful creative work and you get credit towards graduation. We have a mentorship program where we pair up, again, creative professionals with our students. And then finally, our grad show. So our grad show is, sort of like a big event where, our graduates show their work to their friends and family, but it's a great opportunity to connect with the creative industry. We have something called Industry Night where recruiters from, the top design studios come and they actually recruit our students. So here's a list of a few of the major companies that you'll probably recognize that have hired our students. I also want to point out that we have a Center for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, where we are about 40% international, so we have a high international population. But of course, we're really trying to encourage diversity in our domestic population as well. So we've created a series of programs and events and workshops that really highlight artists and designers of color. We also have something called DEI Creativists. So these are our center students who are activists by nature, and they want to connect their activism to the work that they're doing at Art Center. The other major characteristic of our school, besides the professional focus, is the no foundation year. So what this means is that at Art Center, you don't apply to the college with a general portfolio. You pick one of the 11 majors and you apply directly to your major with a very specific portfolio. So the portfolio requirements are listed on our website. Just to give you an idea, if you're applying to film, it's obviously films that you've created that you're sharing. If you apply to illustration, it's figure drawing and narrative illustration work. So it's very specific to the program. 2/3 of the courses that you take are studio. So it's a very hands-on, studio-oriented curriculum. There are science and humanities requirements, but it's going to be a relatively small portion of the total curriculum. All right, something that's brand new to Art Center is the first year immersion program. So we're going to start this fall of 2022. And we've noticed that because we don't have a foundation year and we never have, we're missing out on a population of students who might not know exactly what they want to do with their art design career yet. So the first year immersion program is created to reach those types of students. Where you want to do something in art and design, but you're not exactly clear. So for 2 terms of study, you will study the different majors at Art Center, learning the sort of the fundamental skills in all the areas. And then you can select your major after the first 2 terms. This is brand new to us. We haven't seen the actual curriculum for this, but it is an opportunity to come to Art Center if you're not clear yet on your direction. I'm going to go through the 11 undergrad programs now, the Bachelor Fine Arts programs. You can see on the left, we have Bachelor Science programs on the right. And at the bottom there,
Nathan,
you can
sorry to interrupt you. We're not able to see any of your other slides. For us right now, it's stuck on the mailing list one.
Well, that's no good.
No.
Well, thanks for telling me. Let me try this again. How about now? Can you see that one?
We can see the mailing list one, yes.
Can you see my email address?
No.
This is really odd. I have done hundreds and hundreds of these and this has never happened.
Oh, that's strange.
Let me close out the keynote and then open it back up and we'll see if that does anything.
Sure.
Because it's way more exciting to see the images than just to listen to me. I'm just going to try it this way. I'm going to share my desktop and then. So there's the first one. Can you see the second one?
Yes, we can see it now. Thank you so much.
All right. I'll recap. There's my email address. I just told you what I was going to go over. And then I was showing you images of our students, the different programs. There's the comprehensive list of the creative careers. I mentioned the professional focus. Located in Los Angeles. And then I went over how we have an expansive classroom. Thank you all for your patience. And then the career and professional development portion. Companies that have hired our students, the Center for Equity and Inclusion. Talked about the first year immersion program. All right, I think we're caught up there. Okay, so on the left are the Bachelor of Fine Arts programs, and on the right are the Bachelor of Science. And at the bottom, you can see the various minors in science and humanities. Okay, to go through the programs here, first one is illustration. And at the beginning of each program, you'll see, again, a list of career outcomes because that's focus, again, of our school. With illustration, we have 6 different tracks that you select after your 3rd term. So you have an opportunity to be in the program before you decide. But we have a track in entertainment arts that deals with the entertainment industry, like animation, designing characters or environments. We have a fine art track, a surface track, a motion track, consumer product track. So depending on your interest, you can specialize later. But again, you apply directly to animate or illustration first. The entertainment design program has 3 separate tracks, and each track has its own portfolio requirements, and you must apply directly to the track. So I just wanted to differentiate how those 2 programs are set up. The first program is concept design, and this is designing for feature films or animation or game art, designing characters, environments, vehicles, weapons, and props. The second track is animation. So this is training you to become, back up so you can see more of that, training you to become an animator, so learning the software and technology to animate. You can specialize in character animation, storyboarding, lighting, or art direction for 2D or 3D animation. And the third track is game design. And our game design program, there is visual design and visual elements to the program, but it's more from the production point of view. So you're coming up with story, the narrative of the game, the gameplay, maybe doing some programming. So it might involve some technology, incorporating sound. So it's, again, not just visual, but more from a larger perspective of game producing. Our film program is very narrative in its approach. So you might do music videos or commercials, feature films, documentaries. Michael Bay and Zack Snyder are 2 really famous Art Center alums. So you can kind of see the type of stories that they tell. And in our program, you can choose this later, but you can specialize in editing, directing, or cinematography. Our photography program is very commercial based as well. So you will review fine art photography. We still have traditional film studios, but a lot of the work that you'll see here is really commercial. So you might explore portraiture or editorial photography, automobile, food, product, architecture. Our fine art program is essentially training you to be a gallery artist or an exhibiting artist. This program, compared to illustration, is much more experimental and conceptual. So you might do drawing and painting, but you also can do video, performance, installation, sculptural, 3-dimensional work. So again, how we differentiate the 2 programs is this one is experimental. You really encourage use all types of media and much more conceptual in nature. Our product design program is designing really any type of commercial product. So it could be soft goods, shoes, toys, medical devices, electronics. Our program is very human-centered in its approach. So, solving human problems through creative and empathetic design. Of course, there's the pure aesthetics of designing beautiful forms and beautiful objects that people will not only want to use, but purchase based on their beauty. Also considering the branding of a company. So there's a nice sort of melding of the business aspect of design with the more creative and visual aspects. Our transportation design program is also very similar to product. It just focuses entirely on vehicles, mostly automobiles, but our students design watercraft and buses, trains, other modes of transportation. And we're really tapped in with the car industry. And every company you can think of has been inside our center for a sponsored project. Students are designing interiors and exteriors, also considering branding as well for each company that they're designing for. Spatial Experience Design is a new name for a program that we had before. It's a little bit more accurate description now. And in this program, it's really similar to architecture and interior design, but it falls somewhere in between. So architecture more dealing with the monument or designing outside in. This program is primarily dealing with space, so designing inside out. It could be commercial spaces, residential, maybe designing hotel lobbies, restaurants. It does venture into product design, specific to furniture, lighting systems, fixtures, and maybe even designing branded spaces as well. Our interaction design program is essentially user experience design, or designing how we interact with technology. So it's really always about the interface. So, websites or apps, and designing how we use them. It might venture into product design and designing how we interact with that technology of the product. There's always a graphic design element to this program, so using typography and images. Might venture into robotics, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and other types of technologies. Our graphic design program is typography and images, again, to communicate ideas. In this program, typography is very important. We teach the traditional typography that was done hundreds of years ago with the printing press. Then, of course, you're going to deal with typography in more contemporary ways. Print graphics, but also motion graphics, package graphics, installation graphics. And finally, the last program is creative direction. So we started as an advertising school, and this program was actually called advertising until this year. We switched to a more contemporary name. So this program is really about training you to be an art director or become a brand manager. So really it's, there's graphic design elements, of course, to the program, but beyond that, it's about creativity of idea and branding, copywriting, how to use language in creative ways to attract customers. So it's more, again, from the larger art direction point of view. All right, so those are our programs. I do want to point out that we offer appointments to answer questions and talk more about our programs with you. But the best way that we can really help is with your development of your portfolio. And like I mentioned, all programs have specific requirements. The departments are the ones that make the ultimate decision on who's accepted. So our job is to help you align your portfolio with what they're looking for. So you can go to our website under the admissions page, and you can schedule an appointment with me or another counselor. And again, I'm going to put my email address in the chat so you can reach out to me directly. So the application process for Art Center, pretty straightforward. We do have an online application found on our website. We do need your unofficial transcripts when you apply. The portfolio, again, is specific to the major. Most programs do have a video essay, and this is just a short video of you talking about one of your pieces. It's just a way that you can introduce yourself to the department. We do have written essays. Those are listed on our website as well, in case you want to look at those in advance. ACT and SAT are optional. We do not require them. Most students do not submit them. So that's entirely optional. And then for international students, we do need a language test if you did not complete all 4 years of study at an English-speaking high school. And even if you did, if you have lots of ESL courses on your transcript, there's a chance that we'll request it. Those are our general rules on that. In terms of deadlines, we have something brand new this year. We have a lot of new things. We have an early action deadline. So November 15th, this includes all programs. If you want to know the result faster, and it's going to be before the end of the year. So you'll learn by late December, that if you're accepted or not. So November 5th is that early action deadline. If you miss that, absolutely no big deal, no penalty. It's really just for you so you can learn faster. So the only program with an official deadline is entertainment design. So this is animation, concept design, or game design. So in those three programs, you can see that the deadline is February 1st for fall. And that is a hard deadline. The other programs, all the other programs have rolling admissions, which technically mean you can apply at any time. We publish a priority date, as you can see there. For fall, it's February 1st. No penalty again if you apply after that date. It's absolutely not a deadline. In terms of financial aid and scholarship, for domestic students, you're required to submit a FAFSA. And once you submit the FAFSA, that indicates to us that you're interested in both financial aid and scholarship. Financial aid is determined by financial need. About 61% of our students qualify for that. In addition to that, you could be eligible for scholarship. And scholarship is primarily determined by your portfolio. But if you're a domestic student, we also consider financial need. For international students, you simply indicate that you're interested in financial aid on your application. That's all you have to do. It's a yes or no question. And then you aren't eligible for financial aid from the US federal government, but you are eligible for scholarship. And for international students, it's really primarily determined by your portfolio. So I mentioned a portfolio review. You can do this in person, much easier to do this virtually. And again, you can schedule that on the admissions page on our website. We're also giving campus tours. Again, we're giving virtual campus tours, so it's a way to see our space a little bit more intimately. The tours are given by an actual Art Center student, so you can get a different perspective, a perspective from a student, ask them questions if you like. The mailing list, the QR code that I will show in a second, again, these are an example of some of the events that we can invite you to in the future. And so I'm going to show that QR code one more time. And then I also want to point out on November 6th, we have an open house event, and we would like you to come to that as well. So you can register for that through our website. I tried to see if this will work. Yeah, there we go. So there it is. There's a QR code specifically for that, to register for that event. And this is a great way to learn more about Art Center, but there's sessions with the departments, so you can virtually meet the chair of the department and learn a little bit more details about any of the particular programs that you might be interested in. All right, so I think that concludes everything. And in the chat, I just put my email address. And I'm also going to put a digital resource guide. And this has several links for various things within the admissions department. So I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nathan.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know. Nobody could see.
I didn't want to interrupt you, so I should have probably mentioned it a bit sooner. But I'll start off with a question. I'm curious if you could tell me a little bit more about the average class size that you have there.
Yeah, the average class size is 12 students, and that's an average across all of our programs. The faculty to student ratio is 1 to 9. So some of the classes are even smaller than 12. And then, hopefully this is going to change soon, but with the COVID-19 situation, we've actually reduced class sizes even more and limited the number of students in each studio space. But yeah, it's a pretty small school in general, 2,000 undergrads. We do have 200 graduate students as well. But it's designed to always be small, so our students have lots of intimate connection with their teachers and their fellow classmates.
Great. And since you mentioned COVID, do any of your classes have like online elements still in place?
Yeah, currently we do have a lot of online elements that's in place. By the spring, so starting January of 2022, we're projected to be about 80% on campus. So 80% of our courses will be on campus. I think that we've learned that a lot of the science and humanities can be online, no problem. There's no studio element, so we might continue some of our classes indefinitely online. But by spring, 80% in person, and then by next fall, we're really hoping to be pretty much back to normal.
Great.
But
Seems to be the way of the future. Yeah. Great. And maybe you could tell us a little bit more about campus life for our international students.
Sure. Yeah, so our campus life is slightly different because we don't have on-campus housing currently, and it's projected to be complete 3 or 4 years in the future, which doesn't really help most of you probably. So we do have resources at Art Center to help you find housing, houses, apartments, housemates. So a lot of our students live in Pasadena or the surrounding communities. So our actual campus really feels more like the creative industry. It's really a professional environment where there's just buildings and studios where our students come to work. And our studios, before the pandemic and then soon after the pandemic, our studios are open 24 hours a day. So we have students that are in there at really some crazy hours getting work done. We do also have student-led organizations and clubs. So we're not entirely, workers. They do some social activities and have fun as well. So we do have a series of those, but we don't have that traditional feeling of, here are the dorms and here's the building, the classrooms next to the dorms. We don't have that.
Great. And I think I asked this question to SVA, but maybe you could tell us a little bit more about the support that you offer for first-year students and or international students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for first-year students, but really all students, your entire time at Art Center, we have counseling, academic counseling, and then also health and well-being counseling. So we have a Center for the Student Experience that facilitates all of that. In addition to that, we have an office strictly for international students to offer support. And again, we're 40% international, so we're really used to dealing with a huge population of students from all over the world, and to make sure that you can not only find housing, but also to learn your way around the campus and Pasadena and Los Angeles in general, to make sure that you have a safe environment to learn and grow. So yeah, we have a robust sort of counseling system and in place.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today and for your super informative presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
All right.